like this happens at Walmart. How many of you guys have been at Walmart and there's one person working the electronics section and you have to wait for this person to talk to two other people to ring somebody up, and then they have to go and unlock the thing out of the jewel case, right? All the time. Yeah, exactly. And so, like, what does that cause? That means that that worker doesn't have as much time to rest. It's more strenuous on them, and it's more difficult for the workers in general. Yeah, dude's busy as hell. Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't even have, like, a moment or two to rest, because you guys know, like, I don't know. I mean, I've only had, like, really 2 jobs my whole life that are, like, like, streaming. But most jobs, like, you're not working 8 hours straight. You're working for, like, maybe 10 minutes, and then you stop and you like, recalibrate, and then you do something else for 10 minutes. And then you do something else, right? There's going to be, like, intermissionary periods. The fact is that now, not really. I think so. I mean, yeah, of course, right? It's like, for example, like, you finish a task, and then you have to submit your task, and then you have to go get the next task, logically, right? And so all the time that happens, you're going to have transit time with anything. It's travel time, effectively. And no cool on this one? No, I think so. Not anymore. They min-maxed it. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that I'm sure that there's some jobs this isn't the case for. But I think in a lot of cases, it's very regular to have small intermissionary periods while you're working of maybe a couple of minutes until you do the next task. And what I'm saying is that situations and systems like this remove those intermissionary periods, or they make them smaller, and that way people don't have as much time. Social services? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's gonna be downtime.
Get to whatever location they've been redeployed to, but even if the workers can get to the new.
Yeah, of course, right? I mean, yeah, and also, like, logically, you would have to have downtime because almost no work is completely synchronously the exact same performance the entire time. So you're gonna have ups and downs, right? And so what I'm saying is that these downs, there's a lot less of them if you have to do all these other activities.
Location, so can the criminals. In fact, they ride around on the subway here for free because we don't care about fare evasion either. And that's the real problem here, because if customers need a new store to shop at and workers need a new store to work at, criminals, they're going to need a new store to steal from, and everybody's going to end up at whatever store is still hanging on. Hanging on is definitely the best way to describe it after one Upper East Side pharmacy closed.
This is not like lawn chairs, apparently. Yeah, there you go.
Surviving location said that they were getting robbed once an hour. And as you're about to see, closing stores is not going to put a stop to New York City's theft problems. Well, in fact, it's only going to make it worse.
Another guy, while he was chasing him, stole candy.
It's like nothing is being done.
So you feel like it's getting bolder?
Yeah, it definitely is getting bolder.
Walgreens said only economic headwinds are making it too difficult to cover.
So the reason it seems like theft is getting more out of control and thieves are getting bolder and more brazen is because they have to. You've got the same number of criminals, but now you've got fewer stores to steal from. Like this CVS right here, its theft problems definitely got worse after the Walgreens, which was across the street, shut down when that happened.
This is like what happens when like, I remember people tell me this. It's like when I go offline, the roaches scatter. And like, people will be like, yeah, so like I started getting a lot of sexist, why do they keep telling me stop talking? Why is this dishwasher talking? Why are they saying this? Oh, Aspen went offline. Oh, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense.
And any crime that was taking place split between the two stores now all has to happen at just one store. And you can tell from the lack of rust and dings in the paint on these cabinets that many of them are a recent installation here. And not only are many of these aisles completely walled off on both sides, you've also got that blinking security camera. The store's literally doing everything it can to deter crime. And that's because any surviving store is under more pressure now than it's ever been. And there's no way out from any of this.
Well, it's like if there's 100 thieves in 100 stores, people are probably going to steal from one store, right? Not everybody's going to steal everything from the same store because then you're going to run out of stuff. Like if you were stealing and everybody was stealing out of the same McDonald's or the same Walgreens, and you keep showing up with your bag, and then all the expensive stuff is gone, you're gonna say, fuck this, I want to go to the other Walgreens. Right? Let's be honest, right? I mean, yeah, you're gonna go to the other Walgreens, like, fuck that. And so, but if there's only 10 Walgreens, you gotta deal with 10 thieves in each one. The DoorDash table gets raided a lot. Bro, if you are down bad so much that you have to be raiding the DoorDash table, like, how do you get there? I work in loss prevention, and the high shrink loss stores will intentionally overstock to keep a product available for customers. They surplus those stores not only to keep them in stock, but also to pad numbers. Good, well, I need to start stealing pepper beef jerky then. Because I go to the store and they have every kind except for the kind I want. And I'm tired of it, man. This pissing me off.
Unless, of course, laws were to be passed that made crime again. But since that's not happening, every single thing you see here are the last moves of a store that probably
people
won't be here for.
You gotta remember Listerine. Well, we played that game, right? The mouthwashing game. It's bad. It's real bad.
Ever. But you know, the real problem is all the products. It doesn't just deter thieves, it also deters customers.
These plexiglass screens and all these other inconveniences that are added to customers who are simply there to make a purchase creates additional friction. And friction is the death of retail.
Walgreens.
He's completely fucking right. Absolutely. Perfectly stated.
Said in a statement.
Friction is the death of retail. He's 100% right. And if it takes longer to buy things in a physical store, less people are going to put up with that. But it's not just the inconvenience factor that's a big deal here. All this security costs money. It's not free because every time somebody wants to buy something, they need a human to help them get it, and that costs money. And that money, well,
too much has been done. See, this is why less and more. A lot of people don't understand like allocation of time and like time management skills and optimization of those skills. So every employee's output is going to be min-max to the highest percentage that the company can realistically put it at, right? That's what you guys are saying, obviously. So this now is like, let's say an employee is operating at 95% efficiency. If this increases the amount of work they have to do by 10%, now they're over efficiency, and now a new employee has to be hired, or the quality of service goes down. So it actually makes everything cost more money. And like, this is one thing that like, so. All right. This is a wow now. One thing that I would fucking hate about gold guides. I would hate this so much. There would be two things I hated. Number one, gold guides that were made with no context of supply and demand. Number one. Number two, or price and demand, wherever you want to look at it, depending on the product, right, or the item. Another thing is that gold guides that do not take into account travel time, transit time, reset time, loading time, ready time, cooldown time, and everything else. All of these things you need to itemize and figure out how much each of these individual little things take, and then multiply it over 8 hours, and you will see that, let's say, if every employee, think about it like this. If you have, we'll do the math for this. You don't have 16 employees, but let's say you had 16 employees, and every single employee worked 8 hours a day, and 30 minutes of that day need to be dedicated in order to like unlock things. Now you need to hire an entire new employee in order to maintain the same level of efficiency. Crazy.
can only come from one place. Just look at the price of this deodorant. It's absolutely expensive, almost $20, when a 3-pack of the exact same stuff costs $23 on Amazon right now. That's crazy. And if prices are going up and convenience is going down, what reason is there to even shop in a physical store anymore? You'd literally
that's actually, he brings up a really good point, and I think that's what that Indian guy was saying on the video, is that basically these stores are already losing a lot of market share to things that are more convenient, like Amazon Prime. And so now when you add this extra barrier to entry, it makes it even easier for people to transition over to somewhere else. That's it. Amazon has this for $3. Well, not only do they have it for $3, they also have it with
Darn.
Amazon comes to my house. Yeah, it's delivered directly to your door. You don't have to pay shipping because you have Amazon Prime. And if there's a problem, usually you can return it. It's annoying, kind of, but yeah. They send it to your fat ass? Yeah.
Have to be
One day
desperate
too,
for some
somehow?
overpriced
Yeah, exactly.
item and need it immediately for some sudden purpose to even go into one of these places. But if things are 3 times the price of what you can get them for on the internet, people are going to change their habits, and most people
And that's
are.
also another big issue, is that the prices on the internet are not amortized, or like, they're not factored into the entire price of like the value, right? Because like if you're selling things on the internet, you're not factoring in shrink in the same way. Shrink is stealing in the same way that you would be than if you have a retail store inside of New York City. It's just like it's making it to where these stores basically can't fucking exist other than being loot boxes. Yeah.
They're willing to wait a couple of days to get their dryer sheets. Just order your dryer sheets ahead of time. That way you don't have to run out and then come into a store and pay more than you pay on the internet.
Exactly.
However, the internet is a double-edged sword because it's both the cure for in-store theft and the cause of in-store theft in many cases. Because although you can't steal these cleaning products from Amazon as it's online, someone else could steal them from a place like this and then resell them back to you. And that is the whole reason stores like this, no matter how well guarded they are, may not have a whole lot of time left, at least in this city.
I think that's true. I think that right now we're in like a transitionary period, and Amazon already has stores that function this way. I think the future of retail stores are going to be places where you can go inside. Like, I think that there's going to be a trend, like right now, like, you know how like McDonald's is moving away from a lot of customer service and a lot of the McDonald's experience to become a much more corporate min-max system, right? Like, I feel like anybody can see that. So I think that's going to keep going, and that's going to keep going for maybe like 10 more years, right? Maybe 15 more years. But what I think is going to happen after that is that there's going to start to begin and it's already happening, but it will be it'll be at like a crisis point, right? Or like a crossover point of like where at that point you're going to have more people. I was thinking about 3 different things at the same time.
Let us parlare rather than
scroll up and read what chat was saying as responding to what I was saying. Automated, right? And so anyway, these stores, there's going to be a growing demand for people. I disconnected. And there's going to be a growing demand for people to have in-store customer service.
Do me no harm, but
And that's why, like, for example, and this is like a really, really weird abstract example, but hopefully you guys can appreciate it. Do you know this scene in John Wick where he goes in to buy the suit and he's talking directly to the guy, and then he's talking directly to the suit maker, and then he's talking directly to the guy that makes the guns? People like that type of in-person personal service, right? And it's seen as, oh wow, this guy's a fucking G. So like the idea is that this is a high value, high status type of service. And regardless of whether it's selling you a machine gun or selling you, a machine toy gun, it doesn't matter, it's the same thing. And so the point is that I think that after about 15 years or so, we're going to see a resurgence of retail stores that have actual customer experience people there that are designed to kind of help you with your purchase. And you see a little bit of that now with like luxury stores. Like if you ever go inside of, how many of you guys have ever been inside of like one of these like stupid overpriced stores like Armani or whatever? They'll immediately have somebody on you. Maybe the reason why is because they saw me and they were like, oh, yeah, watch him, make sure he doesn't do anything. He's not gonna, don't let him shit on them. If that's the guy from last week, don't let him shit on the floor again. Yeah, so they have no idea, right? And anyway, so you're going to see a growing resurgence in demand for like the customer experience, I think in 10 to 15 years, to an extent that it will be met by a retail store that ends up making profit because of it. But what I think we're going to transition to a lot more of right now is that we're in like this weird middle ground where we have a tremendous amount of technology, but we don't have the technology calibrated in a way that's efficient. And so you're seeing Amazon, and there's also certain places in the EU that do this as well, that automatically charge you based off of the objects that you walk out of the store with, and you walk into the store with an amount of money, right? Like on a card. That was fake? Well, if it was fake, it's going to be real. Like, I mean, do you really think that that's not going to happen? Because like, I can guarantee you it's going to happen. That's the smartest and most efficient way of doing it, and I guarantee you that there are billions of dollars being invested right now at this very moment into making that a reality. It does, but it's rare. Exactly. But eventually it won't be. And so anyway, pilot store, yeah. There's just some people in India charging whenever you're there. Yeah, well, either way, that's what I think is going to happen. And that's going to be the future of retail stores. At least in like
this right here behind
the short term.
The most
no way, you guys don't think so?
Okay. In the entire city. Not only does it have security cameras, but we're in a brand new train station, which is being patrolled by National Guard troops. And exits are limited. You can't just run out of this place right through this massive front door and then be on the street. No, you're still in.
It's crazy how much more civilized things are when there's any authority there. Like, you see the National Guard posted up, maybe you're not going to steal those Cheetos. Leave them on the rack. Nope. Not today.
A facility which is
and this is another component too, is that a lot of people think that criminals are like these like stupid animals that can't figure out what's going on and they just can't control themselves. Most criminals make conscious decisions to minimize risk. And that's the reason why, and I bet a lot of places, like, people will probably be less likely to break into a house if the person owning in the house can't own a gun.
But even though you'll see a few more free-range products on the shelf of this particular store compared to the CVS we were just in, there is still a lot of progressive plexiglass in here, that's for sure. Because sadly, even a place like this is not immune to theft.
As long as there are resale brands that are not held accountable for the sale of stolen goods, then this kind of conduct is only going to get worse.
Come on!
Here's how it works. The criminal network hires an individual or crew called boosters. After robbing a retailer, they turn over the stolen goods to someone waiting nearby called a fence. The fence then takes the haul to a home or warehouse where a cleaner removes anti-theft devices or marks.
So there's a couple angles to this online retail theft component. The first angle is that it makes it very easy for anybody to say that they have a product and to list it for sale and to offload it. And the second problem is that these companies like Amazon benefit whenever something is sold on their site. They take a cut, and some people say that's why they aren't doing more to get rid of illegal products from their sites. However, even though Amazon and eBay benefit from the sale,
I think the woman is totally misguided, and her fixation on Amazon not blocking these people, it's impossible to block people that are doing this. These are not, like, I mean, if you want to talk about like them being Walgreens exclusive items, this is just them trying to leverage this issue to lower the credit of Amazon because they view Amazon as a competitor. They're not actually looking at solving this problem. They're just looking at a way to badmouth their competitor.
Speaking of no matter where it's from, it's not the fault of these sites that New York has a massive retail theft problem. A problem which is so bad we've even got to lock up our ice cream with a massive padlock. Look at the size of this thing. Now, of course,
let us parley rather than Parisian.
Sticks on the lock. Oh my God.
Can't sell ice cream online, but there's another place you can sell it in New York City, which is why this stuff too is locked up.
This is
revealing that it
ridiculous.
is not the fault of the internet alone that New York has a $4.4 billion shoplifting economy. But before we get into the other ways stolen products are offloaded in this city that is unique to it, it's important to understand that even if Amazon stamped out every illegal listing on their entire site, this stuff, it would still get taken and it would still end up somewhere else because people who steal want money. And even though Amazon and eBay probably should be doing more to keep the sale of illicit goods from taking place on their platforms, the real problem is places like New York aren't doing enough to stop criminals.
It's impossible for them to stop doing that. I mean, obviously, yeah, I mean, it's like what he's saying is common sense, but these are all methods of reduction and nothing's going to make it stop happening.
From taking things in the first place. Here's an example of a serial shoplifter with over 100 arrests. How is this even allowed to happen? How is somebody allowed to commit 100 crimes and still be walking around down the streets? And how are we supposed to expect this person to learn something the 101st time they get arrested that they didn't learn the other 100 times? We're not. And criminals like this are the real reason New York has an out-of-control crime problem. Now, that doesn't mean Amazon is innocent. After all, the more products that are locked up in stores, the more people who will just go online to buy from them. But the reality here is that in New York, you've got a lot of places to offload something that you do not have to resell. And the city's not doing anything about it.
Millions of dollars in stolen goods seized in Queens and put on display for the cameras. The thieves had an eye for cosmetics, beauty products, designer clothing.
The defendants utilized social media, Instagram, and other online resources.
What a surprise. I mean, of course you're going to do that. I mean, that's the smart stuff to steal. Yeah, they're going to steal that because they make the most money off of it. Yeah, it's simple. Makeup is expensive. Yeah, makeup is really expensive, for sure. I'm from Brazil, and up until a few years ago, we always dreamed about the U.S. and always complimented U.S. citizens were so right about being exposed, self-checkout. Things have changed too fast. The problem is that it's become a politically charged issue that prosecuting people for stealing is like...
Oh! Ragamuffin! Oh! Consider, ere the battalion joineth the cross. Louse! Vilnius! Darn! Hedgeborn! Crikey! What gain is there in blood spilt? Quick. Stein die Hand, good sire. Let us snap. Turnen we from this path. Ere it be. Start. Lost! Zones! Varlet! Rauchen! Nein! Seeking we a throw for our people's sake. Lost! Brett! Gosh! Eggard! Lime! Start! Hellway! Mangakur! Let reason rule and where rage might reign. Gotch hooks! Crikey! Let cooler have this prevail on this day. Turn we from this path, ere it be. What gain is there in blood spilt?
God, my plea. My godness, grant
Speaking we of terms, not of swears.
mercy.
Hedge bomb.